Well, I'm in Kenora, Ontario, and it was built on this. It was built on logging, and a lot of Northern Ontario was built on the logging industry. And then something very interesting happened to Northern Ontario. And as soon as the traffic goes by, I'll show you what that is. The logging industry started all of this stuff, and then everybody figured out how beautiful it was. And so as the cities grew up in Canada, people were looking for recreation time, and they decided that coming up to places like this, which is called Lake of the Woods, they thought this would be a wonderful place for a vacation spot. And of course they were right. But I just find it so incredibly fascinating that in this particular town they still have an operating full-blown logging and woodworking industry here, wood processing, and at the same time they have this on the other side of the bridge. It's a really fantastic thing, the way that Canada was started and the way that it continues. It's pretty cool. Almost Thunder Bay. This place is called Uppsala. Kind of a strange name, but anyway, it's called Uppsala. Typical geography for this part of Canada. I was talking to one of my buddies there today online while we were stopped this morning, and I was talking about the water around here. And it's almost as if there's so much lakes. There's so many lakes and ponds and streams and rivers. There's so many. It's almost as if this whole thing is actually a massive body of water with a jillion islands in it. It's almost like that because there's so much water, and it's crazy. There's just every place you go, there's another pond and a stream and a lake and a river. Lots of pine trees, lots of spruce, lots of logging up here. The logging industry is definitely still thriving here. And I'm taking a break from driving, which is nice, actually, because Ontario is so friggin' huge. We're right on the very, very edge of the Eastern time zone and the Central time zone. That's where we are. And literally you can drive 3 days before you get to the other side of Ontario, which is basically what we have to do because we live on Eastern Ontario. And right now we're in very much Western Ontario. So anyway, this is the Thunder Bay district anyway. And pretty soon we'll actually be down in the Lake Superior kind of area, and there's a couple of adventures we want to do over there, so should be cool. It's a huge gorge, man. That's a very serious gorge. Kind of reminds me of Niagara Falls, but it's way up here, an extra kilometer higher in elevation than Niagara Falls. Like this is really high up. So this is where one of these main streams from the Northlands falls down Kakabeka Falls and down into this gorge and then into the top of Lake Superior. It's quite the place. So there's a story about this place where the one of the Ojibwe Indian chiefs had this beautiful daughter in this legend, and she apparently was captured by the Sioux tribe from up higher, up north a little farther, in a battle. And so legend has it that she decided she was going to betray her people and lead her captors into battle in a way that would take over, and the enemy would win. You know, she was going to betray her own people, and in doing so, legend has it that she came down the river, and then as she was coming down the river, she of course knew this area because she lived here, and so she led her captors right to the whirlpool at the top of the falls, and then apparently she ditched out of her canoe and swam off to the west bank, and her captors were caught in the rapids and they all fell over the cliff, and so she saved her people. It's a neat story. This is going to be a quick one to close out the day because there's mosquitoes, but I might be high enough that there might not be any mosquitoes up here. Actually, that's a pretty good idea. Maybe that's why people build their decks on top of their RVs, because there's no bugs up this high. Good idea. Okay. It's sunset. I'm at Hawkeye Lake. And that right down there is our family friend's cottage. Over here at this part of Northern Ontario, they call this a camp, even though there's nothing camp about that. Here I am on top of the embassy. We rolled another 550 kilometers today, so pretty good day, plus some stops, plus food, plus, you know, sightseeing and all that fun stuff that we did today. But the kids are down there at the beach having a friggin' time of their lives over there and running around enough that the mosquitoes don't carry them away. And as you can see by the cliffs and the water, I have an expectation that tomorrow there should be some epic fishing. So thank you, Northern Ontario, for a fantastic day, and we'll see you tomorrow. So I'm at some kind of lookout here, and this is still Lake Superior. We're not anywhere near Thunder Bay anymore, but the Lake Superior is just absolutely huge, and kind of gives you an idea of what the terrain looks like out here. There's cliffs over here, they're just sheer cliffs, well, almost like an escarpment, you know, like what they have down at Niagara Falls. It kind of reminds me of the same sort of thing. And red rock too. I don't know if you can see that over there, but over there, hard to see. So they have these crazy different colored rocks and stuff, and it's just an awful lot of rugged, super rugged terrain. Wild. So I'm in this kind of a fake lighthouse here, and it's a town called Terrace Bay. Terrace Bay is on the shore of the, I'm trying to keep the wind off the microphone. Terrace Bay is on the shore of the Lake Superior, which you can see is just huge here. It looks like the ocean. And this town actually matters to our family because my wife's uncle had a store here, and I think a movie theater eventually, and he came from Poland. And then what happened was my wife's mom came here from Poland to Terrace Bay, and then a couple of years later my wife was able to come over, and her brother, and so really our family has roots in Canada that actually started here in this little town, Terrace Bay. So that's pretty cool. And they had a magnificent view here. You can see there's, maybe you can't really, but there's just, the land here is so rocky. There's just rocks sticking out everywhere, unless it's been fully blown landscaped. Islands out in the Lake Superior Bay. So this is Terrace Bay. And of course they did, if we walk to the other side of this little lighthouse here, you can see the remnants of the, right there is a smokestack still going for a huge lumber operation. And the area, of course, was built on logging again. It's a reoccurring theme up here, but as you can see, there's a lot of tree life. So, and yeah, Terrace Bay, pretty cool spot on the top of the I guess it would be Atlantic watershed in Lake Superior.